Somewhere in the hills of West Virginia, right now, there are entire towns just sitting there. Streets, churches, houses, all of it empty. No disaster wiped them out. They just slowly, quietly got left behind, one family at a time, until the forest moved in and sealed everything shut. Most people have no idea these places even exist. And number 7 on this list is the perfect place to start, because it is the kind of town that disappeared without the world even noticing. Number 7. Stotesbury. If you drove through Raleigh County looking for Stotesbury today, you would miss it completely. A few broken houses sit along a quiet road, trees pressing in from every side, brush growing through the walls. Nothing about it signals this was once a real town, but it was. Full families, 2 churches, stores, the whole shape of a living community. It was named after Edward T. Stotesbury, who ran the Beaver Coal Company when the mines opened in the early 1900s. Like most coal camps of the era, it was segregated, with separate churches for white and black miners. Senator Robert C. Byrd, one of the most powerful figures in West Virginia's political history, was raised right here in Stotesbury after being taken in by his adoptive family. The original mine shut down in 1958. They tried reopening it a few times, but nothing stuck, and the last company walked away in 2002. People left one by one. St. John's Baptist Church, once a genuine center of the black community here, crumbled so completely that only the foundation stones remain. The town erased itself, and the world did not even notice. A senator was raised here, and today you can barely find evidence that the place existed. How does somewhere like that just disappear? If you think that is quiet, the next one goes even deeper into the gorge. Number 6. Quinnimont. Quinnimont sits tucked along the New River, surrounded by ridges on every side. You will find a couple of old churches, the rusted shell of an iron furnace, and a railroad switching yard that still runs. Everything else has been swallowed by trees. In 1873, Quinnimont became the very first place to ship coal out of the New River Gorge on the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad, putting it at the center of the entire New River coal industry from the beginning. The settlement here goes back to 1827, making it the oldest European settled community in the whole gorge. By 1880, over 100 coke ovens were burning here, and by around 1900, the population had grown to nearly 400 to 500 residents, with a hotel, jail, baseball field, schools, and boarding houses. A massive 55-ton granite monument still stands honoring Joseph Bury, who shipped that first load of coal. As the most accessible coal seams ran thin, the town shrank. By the 1950s, the mines were shut down completely. People followed the work, and the town got absorbed into what is now the New River Gorge National Park. The place that started the whole industry became one of its quietest endings. Doesn't it feel strange that the town that sent the very first coal out of this entire region ended up being one of the most forgotten places in it? The next one required serious engineering just to exist. Number 5. Caperton. Caperton is the kind of place you really have to go looking for. Almost nothing is left, just scattered ruins under decades of forest growth along the New River banks. But at its peak, this place had over 500 residents and one of the most complex coal operations in the entire gorge. Founded in 1880, the operation had a problem most towns never faced. Coal had to come from both sides of the river, so they built the 1,460-foot incline track to bring coal down from the northern hillside and a separate aerial cable system to carry coal across the river from the south. At its peak, 212 beehive coke ovens were burning here. By 1919, the population had already halved. By 1954, the town was completely abandoned and left to decay. The cables are gone, the coke ovens crumbled, the houses collapsed long ago. Nature took back almost everything. They built a cable system across a river just to move coal, and then the whole town disappeared within a few decades. What does it feel like when that much effort just gets swallowed up? The next town caught the attention of Henry Ford himself. Number 4. Nuttallburg. Nuttallburg feels genuinely hidden. You reach it by a road that drops steeply into the canyon, and when you arrive, it is just quiet. Old wooden structures lean into the trees, and a massive coal tipple still rises above the forest floor. It is one of the most intact coal towns left in the whole state. Founded in the 1870s by a British entrepreneur named John Nuttall, the coal pulled from here was smokeless, a clean burning variety sought after by industrial cities. In the 1920s, Henry Ford leased these exact mines to supply coal for his steel mills. Henry Ford was running part of his operation off a little canyon town in West Virginia. After World War II, the demand for New River coal began falling. The mines closed in 1958, and the last residents left not long after. In 1998, the Nuttall family handed the site to the National Park Service. Today, visitors can walk in and find preserved coke ovens, mine portals, and a 1,385-foot conveyor system still standing. Henry Ford depended on this exact place to keep his steel mills running, and now it sits in a canyon most people drive past without knowing it is there. Does that kind of thing hit you the way it hits me? The next town did not just fade. It is still technically a municipality today. Number 3. Thurmond. Thurmond is probably the most surreal one on this list. Old buildings sit right along active railroad tracks with no proper road between them and the outside world. The old depot is still there, the bank building is still there, and 5 people live here. 5. But Thurmond was once one of the richest railroad towns in the entire state. It began in 1873 when Captain William D. Thurmond acquired 73 acres along the C&O railroad line. At its peak, 15 passenger trains stopped here every single day, and the depot handled around 95,000 passengers a year. By 1910, Thurmond was generating freight revenue for the C&O that was 10 times more than Richmond and over twice that of Cincinnati, and one card game inside the hotel reportedly ran for 14 straight years. When diesel locomotives replaced steam engines, the town lost its whole reason for existing. The Great Depression had already drained the economy, fires took key buildings, people left. With only 5 permanent residents today, Thurmond is officially the least populated municipality in West Virginia. 10 times more freight revenue than Richmond, over twice that of Cincinnati, and now 5 people call it home? How does a place fall that far and still technically exist? Number 2 is haunting, not because of what was lost, but because of what it was built to do. Number 2, Whipple. There is a building still standing in West Virginia, and when you find out what it was built to do, it stays with you. The Whipple Company store was built in 1890, and it sold workers their food, their clothes, their tools, and when people died, it sold the coffins too. It had a doctor's office, a post office, and a freight elevator. The company was there from birth to death. Today, it sits crumbling along a quiet road, dark and hollow. Miners were paid in scrip, tokens that could only be spent at that store. The company owned the housing, ran the healthcare, and controlled everything. Families lived in company houses, sent their children to company schools, and had very little way to step outside that system. When the mine closed in 1954, Whipple had nothing holding it together. The store was locked up and forgotten. It is now on the National Register of Historic Places and has been flagged as an endangered structure. It still stands, which makes it more unsettling, not because of what was destroyed, but because of what it was designed to do. If you were a miner in Whipple, where the company controlled your paycheck, your house, your doctor, and your food, what would it have actually taken to walk away? And that brings us to number 1, a place that was already old before the coal era even began. Number 1, Sewell. Here's why Sewell is number 1. Every other town on this list was built because of coal. Sewell predates all of that. It began as Boyer's Ferry in the 1790s, a river crossing on the road between Charleston and Lewisburg, making it one of the oldest European settlements in this part of West Virginia. It watched an entirely new world build itself up around it, and then it watched that world fall apart too. When the coal industry arrived, Sewell grew into a full coke-producing operation. Nearly 200 beehive coke ovens were built in rows along the river. Sewell's ovens were the last to burn in the entire region, finally closing in 1956. The last resident left in 1973. Today, the site sits within Babcock State Park. You can hike in and find those 193 coke ovens still standing, their stone arches rising out of the undergrowth like something from another century. Old mining equipment is scattered through the trees, foundations, a brick chimney, a spring house that still flows. It is one of the most complete ghost town sites in the whole state, and almost nobody talks about it. If you could walk through one of these 7 towns, and just stand there for a minute, which one would it be? Here is what gets me about all of these places. They were not abandoned because something went catastrophically wrong. There was no single disaster, no dramatic collapse. They just slowly stopped being needed. The industry moved on, the jobs disappeared, and the people followed, one family at a time, and the forest did the rest. What is left behind are foundations, ruins, stone arches in the trees, a crumbling storefront, and a monument in the middle of nowhere. Quiet things. But they carry the weight of real lives, real communities that matter to the people inside them. These 7 are just the ones we looked at today. There are dozens more across West Virginia alone, unmarked, unvisited, slowly going back into the ground. How many of them are we driving past without ever knowing? If you want to keep exploring places like this, hit subscribe. There is a lot more out there to find.